Hello everyone, welcome to the video. What is purple haze? Should you avoid it? How to act when you encounter it? Well, fear not. In this video I will be talking about the most characteristic element of my world-building project, that is the magical mist. Unlike the Zaza, purple mist, also called haze, has no harmful effects on living organisms. Its unique violet color originates from the high density of glimmer, an opalizing sun-like substance. It is a common image after a long winter night to see small amounts of it lying everywhere. Normally, it condenses steadily from thin air, but sometimes, for difficult to explain reasons, huge amounts of it can be seen traveling like a fog. In those relatively common cases, it looks like a dense purple cloud that stretches for kilometers, often shrouding everything in sight. After one passes, it leaves a visible trace of its residue behind. Effects of the glimmer are well known and well studied. To put it simply, it stimulates the senses and revigorates the body. Amongst the humans, it would be best compared to caffeine, as it works as a mild stimulant. If the glimmer is consumed in higher amounts, it causes heightening of the senses, wider field of view, and changes in the perception of colors. The effect on beastly folk are comparable to those experienced by humans, albeit at higher dosages. Additionally, their animalistic nature becomes more apparent and their posture less human-like. Virides, the plant folk of this world, are perhaps the most fortunate. Normally, they regain their energy similarly to plants, which is by photosynthesis and by gaining their nutrients from the ground. In the mist, however, those needs don't arise. Glimmer seems to be absorbed by their skin. Where other folk do get tired eventually, in the mist, Virides don't need rest. Now, it would be a great news if not for the fact that most mistborns particularly fancy to hunt for them. There are many creatures that live in the mist, but most can be put into two categories. The numerous traveling mistborns like Festus's gliders and sliders, which are always active, and then there are the earthbound creatures that hibernate and wake up when the mist arrives. Properties of the mist and the adaptive nature of the mistborns allows them to swim through the mist as if it were water. Their skin repels glimmer, allowing them to push off of it while they simultaneously feed on it. Because of that, there are many creatures that occupy the relatively small space of one traveling mist. Their life cycle is short and filled with dangers, so only the strongest creatures survive. Because of that, if mist passes through a settlement, the creatures that live within it will be more than happy to devour anything alive on the ground. For them, easy prey doesn't come too often. Some places, like the Mebelands, with its endless sea of fog, are always shrouded by the mist. Other places, like the Kingdom of Kambala or Zatara jungle, are relatively free of it. Seas that surround the southern continent are well known to have great patches of the mist that only the most skilled sailors can avoid. Some say that captains of the south know how to predict the movements of the mist, but most consider those to be just the rumors. When it comes to science, with its numerous acolytes, it was always skeptical of the mist. Its movement don't follow the rules of physics, while simultaneously it changes the physical properties of other materials. Those changes are not only difficult to predict, but they also make any repairs almost impossible. While iron is usually stiff and springy, in the mist it expands and becomes fragile. Those changes make most vehicles dangerous to operate, as in the mist engines seize up, brakes stop working and suspension shatters. The smaller the mechanisms, the more problematic it becomes. That makes devices that work in the mist either bulky or very expensive, as materials that are not subjected to those changes are quite rare. The arcane society that consists of mages, hex artisans and gemologists has a different approach to the mist. Their endeavors become easier but also less predictable. Those who perform rituals or cast spells are well aware that powers they control are especially fickle in the mist. Crystals are best cut in the purple haze, as they are less prone to shattering. Crystal power mechanisms, or simply hex, works best when the mist is present. For those reasons, even if everything is not well understood, the sympathy is there. On the other hand, folk of faith and other staunch believers are perhaps the most displeased, as in the mist, their powers weaken. Performed miracles are somewhat less inspired, as if they were disconnected from their patrons. There is a saying that gods don't like the mist, because glimmer makes their noses itchy. Some believe that it was made as a punishment to humans, while others say that it is a dust of the godly disputes that didn't settle down. Whatever the case might be, glimmer from the mist is a popular substance used everywhere and by everyone. Mages use it while casting spells, scientists as a stimulant, and god-fearing folk as an incense. It is usually not expensive and it doesn't cause any serious problems to the body. Those who live in the mist are a little different from regular folk, as they often have opalizing eyes and a darker skin embedded with some small crystals. They are more adjusted to their living conditions, but outside of it, they are almost always lethargic. Depending on where you ask, their looks might be considered a symbol of beauty or an indicator of poverty. In all the cases, they are easy to spot as their skin is often quite shiny. Whether they like it or not, the mist is there to stay. Folk have all the creative ways of dealing with it, but that's a story for another video. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in the project, subscribe to stay updated. In the next video, I will be talking about the 4 main races of the world. If you have any ideas or suggestions, write them down in the comments below. I will do my best to read them all. Remember, there is more to come in Haze, the Crystal Mist adventure.